Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Canadian Car Review Show. Today we'll be reviewing the 2015 Mini 5-door Cooper S at Mini Oakville. The Mini Cooper platform has now been extended with 5 doors, increasing the overall length of the wheelbase by 6.3 inches and cargo capacity by 67 liters. It is Mini's first attempt since its debut in 1959 to incorporate rear passenger doors into the original design Cooper platform. Backseat passengers are now able to enjoy more legroom in the vehicle, along with the presence of rear passenger doors. Mini has preserved the handling and nimbleness of the vehicle, along with also increasing drivetrain performance for the new 5-door design. Starting with the exterior, customers are able to choose either a 1-tone or 2-tone paint finish, along with hood stripes and mirror caps. The model being reviewed has black mirror caps and black hood stripes. The front of the vehicle has been equipped with an adaptive LED headlight system and fog lights with 3D LED halo accent trimming around the headlight assembly. The front hood has the traditional Mini design, incorporating a fashionable cosmetic hood scoop. 16, 17, or 18-inch rims can be equipped on the car and are paired with all-season run-flat tires. Both side-front body panels are equipped with signal indicators, and the passenger side of the vehicle is equipped with a lockable fuel door. The rear end has been designed with LED taillights, a dual exhaust system, reflectors, and a manually operated tailgate. The body and frame is made from lightweight aluminum and is engineered with a rigid construction design. What's unique to the Mini Cooper's body frame is the design of breakaway mounts. In the event that the vehicle is in a frontal collision, the engine is designed to break free from its motor mounts, transferring large amounts of energy away from the firewall and reducing the chance of the engine being ejected into the cockpit area. The vehicle is also equipped with 8 airbags. Both the driver and front passenger are protected by front and side seat bolster airbags. Side curtain airbags that are positioned towards the top half of the vehicle also protect all occupants in the vehicle in the event of an accident. There are 2 engine options for the 5-door Cooper. You can get the 1.5-liter 12-valve, 3-cylinder twin-scroll turbocharged engine that produces 134 horsepower between 4,500 and 6,000 RPM and 162 pound-feet of torque at 1,250 RPM, or a 2-liter 16-valve 4-cylinder twin-scroll turbocharged engine that's shown in the video that produces 189 horsepower between 4,700 and 6,000 RPM and 207 pound-feet of torque at 1,250 RPM. Both engines have start-stop technology, variable valve timing, and Valvetronic incorporated into its design and can be paired with either a 6-speed manual transmission or a 6-speed automatic transmission. 0 to 60 times in the 1.5-liter can be achieved in the low 8-second range and in 7 seconds with the 2-liter turbo. Official fuel consumption numbers have not been provided by Mini. However, if you take the recorded fuel tank capacity of both the Cooper and the Cooper S, and the recorded approximate range they've calculated in their Mini brochure, you'll end up with a figure between 7 and 8 liters per 100 kilometers city and highway driving combined. As for the brakes, the Cooper 5-door gets 11-inch front and 10-inch rear ventilated rotors, along with larger front rotors if opting for the Cooper S. ABS, cornering brake control, and dynamic traction control are all standard features that complement the braking system. The suspension has retained its go-kart performance appeal by incorporating a multi-link rear suspension setup and a front single-link spring strut suspension with symmetrical and equal-length drive shafts. The center of gravity of the vehicle has been lowered, and a dynamic dampener control system has been included into the Mini controller unit in order for drivers to have a greater control of suspension stiffness. As for the driver's door, the trim is made of soft touch materials including power windows, door locks, and mirrors on the door. There is also a Harman Kardon speaker built into the door that complements the vehicle's surround sound system. As for the dash, it's made of a one-piece design incorporating soft touch materials. The dash also has insert trim that customers can choose. The driver and front passenger seats are heated, manual adjusting seats with front seating extensions. All seats in the Mini are wrapped in leather material with suede inserts and are reinforced with lumbar support. The rear seats are 60/40 folding and have ISOFIX anchors for car seat devices. The rear end of the vehicle has a shock-assisted tailgate that has to be opened and closed manually. The tailgate can be unlocked from the driver's seat but doesn't open on its own. As for the driver's compartment, it consists of a leather-wrapped steering wheel that's been hand-stitched with your Mini emblem. You have basic driver controls, including your gauge cluster built into the steering column. On the left side is your signal indicators. And on the right side is your front and rear wiper controls. The steering column is actually manually telescopic as well. What's new for Mini is this 8.8-inch touchscreen system that incorporates the Mini controller system. You also have your radio functions built in, along with mood lighting and an LED halo ring that changes colors during different driving characteristics. Below that is your digital dual climate control system that can be synced, both driver and passenger or just driver. Below the rotary knobs is your basic button configuration of your HVAC controls. Both driver and front seats are heated. Below that is your auto start stop system. You can actually turn it off or on depending on your driving characteristics. The start stop feature of the vehicle itself, for the ignition, simply just flick it off, turn off the engine, and to start it, flip the switch. And on the right hand side of that is the traction control switch. You'll also notice that there is a sensor here that actually detects the temperature of the inside occupant area for your automatic climate control system. Below that is your auxiliary in, USB connection, and 12-volt power adapter. As for the center floor console, you have your 6-speed manual shifter that's leather wrapped, and in front of that are 2 cup holders. Integrated in the shifter is a ring that you can switch the driving characteristics of the vehicle with, and below that is the Mini controller that controls the 8.8-inch TFT screen. You also have a handbrake, and in the center you have a snap-in adapter for an iPhone in the center storage bin. You can also lift the entire center console up for more space. As for the steering wheel functions, on the left-hand side is your cruise control menu. Simply pressing the cruise control button will initiate the actual system on through your gauge cluster. The positive and negative buttons indicate the speed that you want to set it to. Once you've selected the speed, you hit the set button and it actually sets the cruise control system. In the event that you need to brake and interrupting the cruise control system, you can always press the resume button and it'll resume the speed that you selected. As for the right side of the steering wheel, you have your audio controls with your up and down arrows as presets, depending on if it's your radio, XM, or Bluetooth. Your volume control. And when you do select the station or select a different mode, you can press OK to confirm the function. Yes, you also have voice recognition software built into the vehicle and Bluetooth connectivity. What's new for all Mini Cooper designs is the gauge cluster system that is now built into the manual telescopic steering column. The engineers have redesigned the gauges to refresh the interior and offer even more character by incorporating mood lighting into the vehicle. The gauge cluster has an analog speedometer and tachometer gauges with a start and ready portion in the tachometer representing the start-stop system. The fuel gauge is the illuminated bar that is shown on the right side of the gauge cluster. The center TFT screen that's incorporated within the gauges shows the car's messages, odometer reading, service intervals, date, gear selection, and a trip reset button. Part of the 8.8 TFT screen is your Mini Connected system. You have 8 options to start with. First option is your Mini Connected, Vehicle Info, Settings, Navigation, Radio, Multimedia, Telephone, and Office. So under Mini Connected, there's a bunch of phone numbers here for roadside assistance, customer relations, and your service center in your area. You can also use the Connection Assistant Wizard that'll detect your USB or snap-in adapter devices. Under Vehicle Info, you can actually select the Minimalism Analyzer system, or considered as green mode. So it detects how efficiently you're driving in the eco mode, and it gives you informations or insights on how you can improve your actual vehicle driving characteristics. You can also go under the Quick Reference system, and Quick Reference gives you a kind of a glance at your actual vehicle itself. So owner's manual in the vehicle, opening and closing the vehicle, adjusting parameters, displays and control elements, driving characteristics, and so forth. You can also search by pictures in the menu. So as number 1 is your wheels and tires, front lamps and bulb replacement. If I click into this section and go under the low beams, it'll actually give me all of the instructions on the low beams itself and tells me what I need to do in order to access the low beam bulb. You can actually go through the entire owner's manual. It's built into the vehicle, so as long as the car is in park, you can access anything, starting with its alphabetical order. You also have an onboard trip computer, so it tells you the range left in the actual fuel tank, your destination and arrival time if you set it, fuel consumption, which is your average combined city and highway, and your average speed. You also have your trip computer that you can manually reset or automatically reset when you fill up your fuel in your tank to full. You also have a vehicle status system. So starting from the top is your flat tire monitoring system. You can reset that system once you've cleared a low pressure error. Engine oil level, so as long as the vehicle is on, you can actually check the vehicle level. You'll notice that your RPM does rise around 500 to 1,000 RPMs for about a minute or two, and that's just to detect the actual level of the oil. You can also go under the service requirements and check to see when your next service for your engine or your brake fluid is, or even brakes. If there's any other errors, it'll be in this actual system right here. So just to give you an example, it says the next check for the entire vehicle is in 60,000 kilometers. You can also check the control. So if you do think that there is a problem with your vehicle, under the control menus, it'll tell you if there is an actual fault. So to give you an example, if you don't tighten the fuel cap door properly, there will be an error in this system displayed, and it'll give you a correction if it's something basic that the driver can correct. You also have driving excitement. So this screen gives you a live indication of the horsepower and torque being generated from the engine at the RPM that you're driving at. Under settings, starting at the very top here, is your instrument cluster. So what's being displayed on that small TFT screen that I showed you earlier in the driver's instrument cluster, we can enable or disable the fuel range, green info, average fuel consumption, average speed, and the date. Under the control display, I can actually increase and decrease the brightness, and I can enable or disable driving mode info. Center instrument panel can also be increased in brightness or decreased. I can even turn off the center instrument, which is the LED halo screen. I can configure the date and time. Can change the language, the speech type, and the units of measurement of the actual vehicle. You can even include a touchpad, so touch sensitivity, touchscreen. You can enable it or disable it. As of connections, you can pick up different devices on the vehicle, which is very important if you have passengers that would like to share audio clips or even video. You can sync video as long as the car is in park. This TFT screen will play videos. The tone is your controls for your audio system. So there's basic treble and bass configuration. You can change the balance and the fade, and you can control the volume settings, the volume itself. Your telephone system settings as well. You can increase or decrease the microphone volume and the speakers. Under speed, when you have the cruise control system set up or deactivated, you can actually set a warning speed. So for example, I'll set this to 120 kilometers an hour. So if I'm on the highway and I exceed 120 kilometers an hour, a warning current speed message will pop up on the 8.8 TFT inch screen and also on the small TFT screen in the gauge cluster. Under climate control, I can actually set up timers as well for ventilation. The lighting system, so I can actually increase the interior lighting or the exterior lighting. Pathway lighting, so once I exit the vehicle, I can actually increase or decrease the timing on the exterior lighting system as I leave the vehicle itself. You can also enable welcome lighting, and if I activate the signaling system, I can either just press the signaling system and there'll be 3 clicks, or if I just press it, it's a single click. Driving mode, I can configure the sport mode. So under drivetrain and chassis, I can selectively pick what I would prefer to actually configure. So if I want in sport mode the drivetrain and the chassis to improve, I can have both, or I can pick exactly what I prefer. So if I just prefer drivetrain instead of chassis performance increase, I can configure it that way. You can do the same thing for your green mode, and you can enable or disable driving mode information for sport and green. You can control the actual door locks as well and the tailgate, and that's what all these functions do under the doors and key lock system. Profiles, you can actually create multiple profiles. You can have a guest, or you can create 2 drivers or up to 3 drivers in your household, and that'll just change their settings upon startup of the vehicle. And you can also actually update the software using a USB connection. You simply go to Mini's website and you can actually download, based on your VIN number, any software updates available for the vehicle. The navigation system is pretty standard. You can enter the address, you can put in last destinations, points of interest. You can also have an address book. You can also display a map. You can zoom out on the map, you can zoom in. You can even have a guidance system, voice recognition instructions, different routes. If you're in a traffic jam or if there's an accident, you can change the route itself. You can even include an interactive map, so you can actually move the positioning of the map to see different locations of the area that you're at. And you can also change the map view. You can even include or go through the stored maps or stored trips. So if you took a specific route on your last trip, you can see the actual route that you took and how many kilometers you drove in that area. There's also route information. So as you're driving, you can also plug in destination points where you can stop for fuel. And you can also pick up the GPS coordinates of where you currently are at. Under the radio system, you have FM, AM, built into the radio system. You can program presets, and you can change the tone of the radio, as I already showed you, through the settings menu. You can also control the radio functions through these buttons here. Multimedia, so you can include a CD, USB connectivity, auxiliary in, or Bluetooth. You can even get this car equipped with XM radio. Telephone services is pretty straightforward. You connect the Bluetooth device and it'll update your phone book, obviously asking you first for permission, and then once you allow the permission to be accepted through the vehicle, then it'll automatically update your phone list. And for office, you can actually have a contact list built in to the vehicle that separates your personal information to your office material. You can also include notes that you want to share, voice memos. To control the driving dynamic system in the Mini, there's a disc that's located on the shifter housing itself. So by flicking this disc, you can switch from green mode to mid mode and to sport mode. Green mode automatically shifts the driving system into a fuel-efficient program. It also gives you an indication on your gauge cluster of how much fuel you've added or range you've added by driving in this mode. Mid mode is just your standard driving mode. So if you don't want anything, if you want just the regular amount of power being produced by the engine and regular shift patterns, this is the mode to use. Sport mode uses the adaptive suspension system that we talked about earlier, and it makes the suspension a little bit more firmer and makes the engine a little bit more peppier during shift changes. As for the headliner controls, starting on the driver's side, is your interior LED lighting. The next switch turns on all interior lights in the vehicle. The center operates the sunroof. The next light, or the next switch, operates your mood lighting. So if I flick through this, you'll see from these LED lights here, the actual lighting system changes in the car. So right now we're filming during the day, so it's very hard to see, but at night the actual interior has all these little LEDs in different parts of the car. So you have several in the door panels, you have several along the top headliner itself, including the footwells, and it actually glows different colors. So, and it's got multiple different colors. So right now you have orange, going through the reds, the purples, the blues, and green, back to yellow. And the last switch is the passenger lighting system. As for the headliner, it's made of fabric material. Both driver and passenger have vanity sun visor mirrors with lighting. The driver also gets a secondary sun visor for the side door area. And in the center is a sunroof with power controls and a manual slider. And the headliner also consists of a panoramic glass roof.
This concludes our video review. We'd like to thank Mini Oakville on providing the vehicle. And for any additional questions, please feel free to add a comment in our channel and we will try to answer them as soon as possible. If you have any other related questions in terms of the vehicle, you can always contact the dealership with the information we've provided. And please subscribe to our channel for new and upcoming reviews. Thanks for watching.